Hello, everybody. 10-3. Hope you guys are doing good and not going as stir crazy as I am. But we got some math here to keep you busy. Hopefully, you have already watched the video on the imperial measurement system, looking at conversions that's usually used in the trades in the United States. So inches, feet, yards, miles. Today, we are taking a look at the SI, or the System International conversion system, commonly known as the metric system. And so this measurement system was developed in France in around 1791. And it was an attempt to standardize the measurements all around the world, which is, pretty great insight considering we are all connected nowadays. So we can, use these common measurement systems if we're talking to somebody on the other side of the world about constructing whatever it may be. And so this SI unit system, the one that we commonly use, is based on multiples of 10. Okay, so any measurement in SI can be converted to another measurement in SI by either multiplying or dividing by some multiple of 10. Now, the base unit is where we start. And so the base unit for the SI system can be a whole bunch of different units. Now, in this portion right here, we are focused on length conversions. So our base unit that we're going to be looking at is meters, which we would represent as just that M, right? But the SI system isn't just used for meters. It's a prefix system, which can be used with all sorts of different units. So we can use meters. It's also used for liters, right? Because I could have a kiloliter, I can have a milliliter, and it's also used for grams, right? I could have a milligram, I can have a gram, I can have a kilogram. So really, this system is used for all of those other ones, and we'll come back to that when we look at volume and mass conversions. For now, we're just looking at meters. And so what these look like is, this is really a prefix. So meters is my base. Now deci would be decimeters. And then centi is centimeters. Milli is millimeters. And we can then go up the staircase. So deca is the prefix DA. And then I could put my meters or liters or grams behind the prefix. Hecto is HM. And kilo would be km. And again, I could have a kilometer, a kilogram, or a kiloliter. So then what we have to do is, like, how can I use this staircase then to convert from one unit to another? Like, a lot of us know off the top of our head, like 1 meter is 100 centimeters, or 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. A lot of us know those unit conversions off the top of their head, but how do they apply to this staircase? Well, every time I go down a step, sorry, I'm going to use a different color here. Every time I go down a step, I times by 10, right? Because we said this is a multiples of 10. So I times by 10, times by 10, times by 10, times by 10, times by 10. And so just to kind of have that as a note here, to go down, I multiply by 10 for each step down. For each step down. And, let's just take a look and see if that works or if that makes sense. So, for example, let's say I have 1 kilometer, and I want to know how many meters that is. Well, using this staircase, I could times by 10 1, 2, 3 times, and then I end up at meters. So to go from kilometers to meters, I times by 10, times by 10, times by 10. Timesing by 10 3 times is the same as timesing by 1,000. So those are the same thing. So, well, what's 1 times 1,000? It is 1,000. And that is true, right? 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So if that's what we do to go down the staircase, we then would have to do the opposite to come back up. So that means here, I would have to divide by 10. So to go from centimeters to decimeters, divide by 10. And each step, to move up consecutive steps on the staircase, each time I divide by 10. So to go up this staircase, I would divide by 10 for each step up. So let's take a look at an example and see, like, does that rule work? So for example, let's say I'm not even going to write an example there. I have 100 centimeters. How many meters is that? Well, according to this staircase, what I would have to do is go from centimeters, divide by 10, and then I end up at my base unit. So to do this, I'd have to divide by 10 and divide by 10, which is the same as dividing by 100. So 100 divided by 100 is 1. And that we know that to be true, right? 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. So if I know this rule, going down the staircase, I times by 10, going up the staircase, I divide by 10, I can use that every single time, okay? I will just put the common conversion factors here for you because they are on your formula sheet and you can use them if you want. And that is that 1 centimeter is equal to 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. I don't know why I said 100. 10 millimeters. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Okay. And these unit conversion factors work the same as when we were doing the imperial. To go from 1 to 10, I times by 10. And to go backwards, I divide. So, right, times and divide. Okay, so we could use either the staircase or my conversion factors to help me solve some measurement conversions. So let's take a quick look at a few questions here. Let's just do some lines, some divisions here. Okay, so the first question says convert 5 meters to centimeters. And I'm going to use both strategies to show that I should be getting the same answer regardless of what strategy I choose. So 5 meters to centimeters. Let's use the staircase. So I'm going from meters. Oh, that's really ugly, M. 5 meters equals how many centimeters? So I'll start off at 5 meters. And then I'm going to go down the staircase to centimeters. So I got to times by 10 once, twice. So times by 10 and times by 10, which is the same as timesing by 100. So 5 times 10 times 10, or 5 times 100, is going to give me 500 centimeters. Don't say I'm timesing by 10 twice and go like 2 times 10, because that's only timesing by 20. When really we're timesing by 10 times 10, which is 100. So don't make that mistake. I see people do that quite often. All right. The other way that I could solve this is using those conversion factors. So we are looking for something that compares meters to centimeters. Meters to centimeters, that would be this right here. So I can write that conversion factor down. So 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And I have 5 meters. I want to know how many centimeters that is. So once I have that set up, I can use my proportion to cross multiply and divide. So 5 times 100 divided by 1 is just going to give me the same answer of 500 centimeters. So whichever strategy I choose to use, I should be getting the same answer regardless of the strategy I'm picking. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. Convert 8.5 kilometers to meters. I'm going to choose the conversion factors for this question here. So convert 8.5 kilometers to meters. So I'm going from kilometers to meters. So I'm going to use kilometers and meters, this conversion factor. So in 1 kilometer, there are 1,000 meters. And I know we have 8.5 kilometers. I want to know how many meters that is. So I would cross multiply and divide. So 8.5 times 1,000 divided by 1. So X would equal 8,500 meters. Again, important you make sure that your final answer is including your units. Okay. Let's look at a few more. So question C here says 4,257 centimeters to kilometers. So centimeters to kilometers. If I go try to use these conversion factors here, none of them convert directly from centimeters to kilometers. So either I would have to go, kilometers to meters and then meters to centimeters or whatever I'm looking for, or vice versa, sorry. But I don't have anything that directly does that. So if I don't have anything that directly has a conversion factor, I'm going to use my staircase because I don't have a direct conversion factor, and I'd prefer not to have to convert twice. So I'm going to go from centimeters, so 4,257 centimeters. I want to know how many kilometers that is. So let's go check my staircase. So I'm going to divide by 10 once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. So I'm dividing by 10 5 times. Divide by once, twice, 3, 4, 5, which is the same as dividing by 10,000. So 4,200 divided by 10,000 is going to give me 0.04257. Last question, decameters to meters. I'd like you to take a second on your own and just pause the video and see if you can convert from decameters to meters. So hopefully you take a look at that question and try to figure that out on your own. Decameters to meters, 0.25 decameters to meters. Now, if I go look at these conversion factors, none of them include decameters in there. So I can't use those conversion factors. I need to then use the staircase for this conversion. So I'm going from decimeters to meters. So decimeters to meters, just got to move down once. So I would take that 0.25 decimeters and put it to meters. So I divide by 10 decimeters. And so that's going to give me 0.0025 meters. And that should kind of make sense because 0.25 decimeters is only 2.5 centimeters. So that kind of adds up. Oh, I put one too many zeros in there. Sorry. 0.025. Okay, so that's the first part, is just looking at basic conversions. Now we're going to go look at using a ruler, and then there's some word problems. So in the last video, we looked at how to, measure on the inches side. Now we'll take a look at measuring on the metric side, centimeters and millimeters. So most of us, I hope you know how to use this, but just as a reminder, right, these here are giving you centimeters. And in here, this would be millimeters, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So this is like 10 millimeters, which is 1 centimeter. So each tick mark is worth like 1/10, each of those. So, easy example is remember, we start using a ruler, line whatever you're measuring up right at 0, and then to let's say right here. Well, that, trying to get it right there, would measure to be about 7.5 centimeters. If I had something, let's say, that measured to right here, and I'm trying to put it on that tick mark, but my pen doesn't want to be accurate. Okay, so I would go 2, so this is 2.12 centimeters. So just count how many tick marks there are, and that's going to be your number in the 10th place. All right, next one, the diameter of a loonie. So I have a few more examples here, some word problems. So it says the diameter of a loonie is about 26.5 millimeters. What is that measurement in centimeters? So really, it's just a conversion problem. It just has a little bit of extra words in there. All they're asking me is change this 26.5 millimeters to centimeters. So I'm really saying 26.5 millimeters is equal to how many centimeters? And if you look at on your staircase, to go from millimeters to centimeters, I just divide by 10. So this would be 26.5, or sorry, 2.65 centimeters would be the diameter of a loonie. Okay. Next one says Paula rides her bike to her friend's house, which is 4.5 kilometers away. She could also run, and if she runs, she takes 1 meter strides. How many strides would she take? Well, then all they're asking me to do for this question is change it from kilometers to meters, because apparently her full stride when she's running is 1 full meter. So all I'm doing is going 4.5 kilometers to how many meters? And if I want to use a conversion factor here, I know that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So I could cross multiply and divide. So this is going to give me 4,500 meters. So that would be how many strides she also has to take. Okay, next ones are a little bit more wordier, so let's see if we can figure them out. So it says Nora is buying, is a buyer for a floor tiling company. She needs 35 tiles to do a project. She finds that a stack of tiles 0.5 meters high, and then if each tile is 1.2 centimeters thick, would there be enough tiles for her project? So what's happening here, kind of wordy, so is like she sees this stack of tiles, and it is 0.5 meters high. And then in here, there's like a whole bunch of tiles, right? And each tile is 1.2 centimeters thick. So we want to know how many tiles are in this whole stack. And once we know how many tiles are in the whole stack, we'll know if she has enough for her project. Now, maybe you can see what the issue right now with this question is I have two different units here. So if you ever run into like a word problem and they're saying like, compare these two things, if they aren't in the same units, it's next to impossible to compare unless you like really understand measurements, right? So this 0.5 meters, I know, well, that's half a meter, that's 50 centimeters, right? And each tile is 1.2 centimeters thick. So really, I just want to see how many times this can go into this. So I'll take the 50 centimeters and divide that by 1.2 centimeters. And so 50 divided by 1.2 gives me 41.7. So obviously, like her measurements are approximate, but that's okay. So 41.7, and that would be how many tiles are in there. So does she have enough for her project? Yeah, she has enough. She could probably take some out unless she wants some extra in case she messes up. All right, example 5. So it says Pat's treehouse is 1.2 meters high. Apparently it's like barely off the ground, but whatever. And then each step is 20 centimeters high. Will 7 steps reach the treehouse? So again, let's take a look at what's happening here. We have this treehouse that is 1.2 meters off the ground. And, they're going to make a ladder. And they're saying the space between each step is going to be about 20 centimeters. So will 7 steps be enough? Well, first of all, let's just figure out how many steps we would need if we separate them by 20 centimeters to get there. Now, again, the problem becomes this is in centimeters and this is in meters. So you could change them both to meters. You could change them both to centimeters. It doesn't really matter. Personally, I find it easier just to change everything to centimeters because I know this is 1.2 meters. So I times that by 100. This is 120 centimeters. So I want to know how many times 20 can go into 120. So I just go 120 centimeters is being divided by the 20 centimeters. And that's going to give me 6. Well, that's 6 steps. So if they put in 7 steps, will it reach there? Yeah, of course it will. And they only need 6 steps, actually. Okay, so that is the metric conversions. Again, if you're having any problems, please feel free to email me. Come check talk to me on the Zoom session or just put some comments below if it's a quick question. I again would suggest, doing half to 3/4 of these questions to make sure that you're kind of on the right track, and then check your answers with my answer key that's posted on the Google Classroom. And there will be a quiz that you should do on the metric and the imperial system after, once you're done some practice problems. Okay, thanks guys.